Hey, thank you for joining me and everyone this evening for the Year 7 Residential Parents Information Evening. Now, I know it seems like a very long way away, 55 days, okay? I would normally have done this a little bit closer to when we go, but this space is going to be turned into our exam hall from tomorrow. So it's the last opportunity I can get everybody in with an opportunity to sit everyone down, ask questions, invite TYF, who are our activity provider, to come and talk to you as well at the same time. Now, obviously, they are based in Wales. I'm not going to send someone over, but luckily, the pandemic has taught us one thing: Zoom is amazing. So, Zoom call is going to help us save the day on that one. Okay. Now, today is going to cover lots of things. So, I'm going to go through the kit list. So, you should have got one of those as you came through this afternoon. I'll go through some of the items on there, not everything. Okay, as you see, some of the items on there probably not going to be needed in mid-July. Okay, but it's like just a kit list that's going to cover all eventualities such as rain, which hopefully is going to stay away from when we're over there. I'm going to talk about travel. I'm going to talk about the itinerary, what the students can expect to get up to, just so you know what they're doing when they're there. And we're going to talk about the tribes, because all the students want to know what tribe they're in now. I'll be talking about how that works and when they'll find out. And I'm going to talk about something that's really important to students, mobile phones, and what they need to know about them. I'm sure you want to keep in contact with them while they're there, so you know they're safe and they haven't fallen over or done something really bad. Obviously, if there's no news from me, it's probably all good news, everything's fine. Okay, so they're the things I'm going to cover. And there'll be opportunity when Sam, who's our representative from TYF, he'll come on the Zoom call. You can ask him any questions about the activities, just so you know, feel safe in what they're doing. TYF are one of the leading practitioners in this sort of activity in the country, over 50 years worth of experience. I wouldn't go for them if I didn't trust them. Okay. So the first thing we're going to go through is the kit list. So in front of you, you've got it. So as you can see, fleece jumper, mid-July. Probably not going to want to fill the suitcases up with all of those. I'm not going to go through all of them. Sports leggings and tracksuit bottoms and things like that. Shorts, short sleeve t-shirts, etc. Going to be really useful to pack. Underwear, please pack it. Make sure it's double packed and they've got spares and everything. Thick socks, that's for walking. Going to be a lot of walking while we're on the trips. Just make sure they've got those to protect their feet. Pajamas, dressing gown. Dressing gown not always essential, but if they've got one who would like to wear it, if they feel comfortable, that's fine. Evening clothes, because after they've been out on activity, etc., they're going to need to dress down into something that isn't their wet swimsuits, etc. So just make sure they've got something in the evenings. Old trainers. So this is one of the things that is going to take up a little bit of room in their suitcase. When they're on the activities, they're going to need to wear old trainers so they don't hurt their feet on the rocks, etc., that are around the beach. If they've got those special shoes that some of them may have when you go to the beach that are grippy and waterproof, that are good for going in the water, by all means take them. Okay, but it's really useful to have an old pair of trainers with you. And then trainers, a normal pair that they don't mind, that they wouldn't want to get damaged. Okay, that they just walk in, spend the day in, etc. And then in the evening, going to think about having some sandals, some Crocs or flip-flops, just for something that's going to be different for their feet, because sometimes when you're wearing trainers all day, especially if they're wet, your feet might want to breathe a little bit, otherwise they're going to get very smelly, and we don't want to be dealing with that, especially when they're all in their bunks in the evenings. Okay, obviously you're going to need a swim costume. Okay, that's going to go underneath the wetsuits that they are provided. Students do not need to go and buy a wetsuit for this. That's all provided, that sort of equipment, as well as helmets and buoyancy aids. That's all from the activity provider. Okay, I'm hoping we will not need to use a waterproof coat. I hope the weather is beautiful and amazing, which I'm sure if you've been watching the videos, etc., I've put on, it looks lovely, but it's near the coast, it is Britain, it is July, we don't know what's going to happen. Okay. Baseball cap and a hat, obviously, walking around, sun, need to make sure we keep our heads protected, as well as the students. And that goes for sun cream as well. I'll take load with me, and I'll be making sure if it's really hot, students are applying that on a daily basis, especially when they've come out the water, making sure that's being reapplied. Okay. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, believe it or not, students probably won't want to be brushing their teeth too often when they're there, but we're going to make sure they do as often as we can. Towel, because they want to be clean after each day, ideally in the morning or after they finished activities. Some shampoo, again, would be useful. I will try and bring some of this with me, but I will not have enough for 100 students. So please make sure they've got a little capsule of it. That's going to get them through the 5 days. Hairbrush and comb. Earplugs, because some students I know are going to struggle sleeping soundly at night. I'm not expecting the first night to be quiet by any means, but I hope it will be, because they need to be fully energized for a very full day of activity on their first day there. Any medication that students need, for example, if they need antihistamine and you need us to look after it, that needs to be labelled in a clear plastic bag with what the dosage is and when it needs to be taken. Okay. Equipment, carry a bag for dirty and wet clothes. Don't want to mix them with your clean things, and it helps keep their rooms organised. Backpack and a shoulder bag for day bags, so they can put their lunch that's provided for them inside the bag. So just their school bag that they bring to school every day anyway will do. If they have glasses, contact lenses, a torch could be useful in the evenings when they have to go across the corridor to go to the toilet. We're unlikely to spend much time outside when the sun goes down, but if we do like a movie night underneath the stars, it might be nice to have a torch so you can get back into the building safely, but there will be lights anyway. Reading book or magazine. When they don't have their phone, might be quite nice to want to chill out and read something. That could be there for them, as well as on the bus. Pocket money. There's a small St David's in Pembrokeshire, I believe it's the UK's smallest city, because it's got a very run-down cathedral in it. So we're hopefully going to take a trip into there so they can go and get some bits and pieces from St David's. Essentials, hand sanitizer. Again, how often are they going to need that when they're out in the sea, but it might be something they want to have. Water bottle, really important. And sun cream, again, going to say it a lot, and a sun hat. If there's any questions about any of the kit I've gone through, please save that to the end. I will answer anything about kit-related issues. Now, travel. We're going to be with Hamilton's, so some of you may get the bus to and into school. On the Wednesday, we are departing school at 11:30 a.m. and I would not suggest letting the students come in on the school buses in the morning, because they're going to be carrying a lot of equipment, and I'm sure they appreciate those buses are very full, especially if there's 6 or 7 year 7s on that bus with the kit. So please organise a drop-off for 11 o'clock at school. I will send out messages to remind you close to the time of the drop-off time. Okay, but I know that you may want to get this planned in case you work arrangements, etc. Just so that's there. Now, we'll be away for 5 days. Hopefully that gives some people some peace and quiet. I don't know, but I'll be doing my best to look after them for those 5 days, and we'll be back on Sunday at 8:30. Okay, so just I'll make sure you're aware of that. If there's any things that change on our travel from Wales back to Corby, I will try and make you aware of it, but I will try and make sure you definitely get a message to say we are 30 minutes away, so that gives you time to get to school, get yourselves organised, etc. Okay. Now, students probably haven't been on a coach journey this long for a very long time, and we want to make sure that journey doesn't ruin it at the very start of the trip for everybody. So mobile phones will be allowed, food will be allowed, not excessive, obviously. I'm going to say headphones are allowed because I don't want any portable speakers, okay? I don't want that experience and drowning out everybody's time on the bus. So if they try and pack them, please take them out. Fizzy drinks, don't really want them either, or energy drinks. You can see where I'm going, this sugar, the less of that, the better. If you've done a long car journey with 2 children in the back, imagine a coach journey with 56, and we'll see what it feels like. We want to make sure that they are calm and still enjoying themselves, but not making it a nasty experience for everybody else. And chewing gum, we don't want that going around. The last thing we want is chewing gum in people's hair before they go on a trip. Okay. And the itinerary. So there's lots of activities that they're going to be doing, and it's a full day. It isn't just an hour doing one thing. When they get up, ideally around 7:30, they'll be getting themselves ready. So they'll be getting themselves changed for the activity they are on. And then they'll go and have their breakfast. And as soon as they finish their breakfast, the students are going on activity. That might then be walking to where they're doing it, or they'll be getting picked up in minibuses and they're being transported to it. Okay, and when they get there, they are there for example, the entire morning. They are doing surfing or one of those activities for the whole morning, and then they'll have lunch, and then it all swaps over on another activity for the afternoon until around 5 o'clock. So it is a full-on day, and that's 3 days in a row they'll be doing this, which is why I said sleep is really important. Okay, so for example, this is what it could look like, and the reason I say it's an example is because if the weather does change, which it can do on a coastal region, we will make sure that they have an activity still to do, but is obviously safe and within the risk assessments that TYF put together. They understand the swells in the sea, they understand the tides, they understand the weather, and it'll be their decision that if they want to take the students out or not. We're not going to force them to take them out. It's their decision that they do, but they will provide us with something else for us to do in that time. Okay. Now, a lot of these things are potentially very new to the students. For example, co-steering. So co-steering, Sam might talk about briefly, but it was created by TYF in the 1980s. They first launched it. It became a commercial enterprise for them. So they are extremely experienced in this activity. Okay, it's the one that's where they basically going around the coast and jumping in the water from different heights and going into little whirlpools and spinning around and being forced back out. All safe. I've done it before. It's great fun, and the confidence that the students gain from it is one of the most amazing things that you will see. Okay, so for me, I know that the students will gain a lot out of doing those activities. Coastal walk, we're going to try and bring a little bit of geography into it, so understanding how the region, etc., was created and how land and geology work in our country. So, accommodation. A few weeks ago, before the Easter holidays, I had the privilege and the exciting prospect of trying to room 109 students. It didn't take 10 minutes, which I thought it would. It's taken a lot longer than that. I want to say it's completed, but I've already had numerous students come and talk to me and say, I don't want to be in that room with that person anymore. It's amazing how Year 7 minds change after 3 weeks. So I'm going to make another attempt at trying to get it sorted by the end of this month. However, I will try, if there's any situation that occurs in school where there's some people that have really fallen out with each other and they can't be in the same room with each other, I will obviously make a change there. Okay. Now, I'm hoping that doesn't impact anybody else, but if I have to move anybody out, they'll still be with at least 1 or 2 others of the people they wanted to be in a room with originally. Okay. The reason it's important is because the rooms tie in to our tribe system, which I'm going to talk about shortly, and the students will be part of these tribes and how those work in terms of the organisation. So St David's bunk barns are amazing. There's probably one of the best accommodation I've seen for students on this type of trip. Usually, if you've ever, I've been on PGL experiences when I was a youngster. The bedding wasn't great. The mattresses were made out of plastic. These aren't like that. These are really top end. I wouldn't say like glamping almost, but better than that because you've got a roof. But a full menu plan is going to be available before we go. Okay, because I am conscious that some students are going to be quite picky in their eating, and I want to make sure there is something for everyone to eat. And there are 3 meals provided for them throughout every single day, and there's also snacks available throughout when they're back at the centre if they really are peckish, which I'm sure they will be. When they arrive, the first thing we're going to get sorted is their rooms, and then we're going to go through how their systems work in terms of how they get food, where they take their cutlery, their plates, etc. That's all going to be explained to them because we've got the whole centre for us to use. That means we've got to look after it. So we're going to make sure we're teaching them those chores and household skills that I'm sure you're trying to teach them at home as well. So we need to make sure that students have those 3 meals provided, and we will do. So if there's any issues on the menu plan, please let me know before we go so I can make sure there is something for each student to eat. And we'll cater for all dietary requirements. So if you've done all those really long consent forms and ticked all those boxes, that's how we build those menus. Okay. Okay, the tribe system. Now, this is something that I sort of thought of a long time ago. I believe it's going to make it a nice competitive experience for the students, because we're going to make sure they look after their rooms. If they look after their rooms, they get points, and the winning tribe gets a prize, all the students in that tribe at the end. Now, you might be able to see a theme that I've gone for the colour of the hoodies. If you've seen the flag at the start, I've tried to go for the Welsh flag. So depending on which tribe they are in, depending on what colour hoodie. And I've also tried to go for a theme in terms of the names of the tribes. So we have Draig, which is Welsh for dragon. We have Dracon, which is Celtic for dragon. And we have Pendragon, which is King Arthur's surname, I believe. So we've tried to link everything together. And depending on which tribe their students are in, if we move it through, there'll be 2 group leaders, so 2 members of staff from school, and then split into that, there'll be 2 groups. And the reason the rooming is so important is because I'm going to try and make sure that everyone in the same room is in the same tribe. Okay, so even if you've ended up in a different room to someone you want to be, I've made sure that they're in the same tribe as the other people they wanted to be with anyway. Okay, so if they're not in the same room, it's only the night time not going to be with their friend or one of their friends. The rest of the day, they'll be with the people that they want to be with. So I've tried my best to make sure that everyone's going to feel happy and be with the people they want to spend that time with. So mobile phones is what I need to talk about in a little bit of detail. So they will be allowed on the coach to and from, but as soon as we get to the centre, there are going to be boxes for the students to put their phones into. And the reason I'm doing this is because, firstly, this is an outdoor adventure experience, and they've got to be with their friends socialising away from mobile phones. This is an opportunity for them to have no screen time or limit that screen time as much as possible. Also, it allows me to manage any safeguarding issues as well. So reducing the amount of phone time reduces the amount of pictures being taken in places that they shouldn't be taken, in bedrooms, etc. So when they get there, their phones will be put into a box. They allow them in the morning when they wake up, during their breakfast, so they can message home to make sure everyone's okay. They need to check their Snapchat, whatever's really important to Year 7, I don't know, but they can go and check it on there. They won't be allowed the access to the Wi-Fi, because if we have 110 students suddenly needing Wi-Fi access, the Wi-Fi won't be that quick. Okay, so we'll make sure they get that opportunity in the mornings. And when they get back in the evenings, they've put all their kit away, they've got changed, or they've had a shower, got changed, and when their dinner is served, they can have their phones again until they go to bed. Before they go to bed, they'll bring their phones and put them in the box, and we'll sign them in and out, so we know where they are, under lock and key. We know whose phone is where. Okay. Now, it's also not sensible to take your phone out on activity because we're in the sea. I'm sure you don't want that phone damaged anyway, so just make sure that it's left with one of your teachers or group leaders before you go out.